as Trump would hold news conferences in those hallways each and every day. One person who was part of it all, had a front row seat, is my next guest, Christine Cornell. She's a courtroom sketch artist, and she has been sketching Donald Trump during this trial. Christine, thanks so much for taking the time for us here in Canada.
Hi there.
You know, that must have been quite something, to put it mildly. Can you give me, a sense of what it was like?
I think that no matter what it was that we thought was going to happen, I think a lot of people thought it would be a hung jury. Nobody expected an entire conviction, and across the board conviction. And that was really quite stunning and extremely sober because it was very, very serious.
What was it like when that verdict came in? We in the media, Christine, as you can appreciate, we're waiting for this to come in. Some people thought it was going to be today, others thought maybe yesterday, and so it unfolded that way. But once that verdict came in, we've reached a verdict, and then there was 20, 30 minutes, give or take, before the actually started to be read. You're there in the court. Trump's reaction. What was going on?
Well, Trump had come in a little bit lighter spirited than normal. He even, as he passed me, nodded to me, and that was unusual. Usually, he's really just got his blinders on as he walks by. I think that he thought he was going home for the day, and that he'd survived another day, and every day that went by was going to be better for him. Once we heard that the verdict was coming, I was scrambling because I had not been preparing a verdict sketch, which was foolish. I had done a very nice no verdict sketch. And wow, did I have a gun to my head right then? So, what I wanted was reaction. And, what I did see that he began to, like maybe five guilties in, began to shake his head slowly back and forth. I did see him when he got up to leave, and he looked a little lost. I mean, normally this man really is so contained, it's almost robotic. You just don't expect anything. He's very predictable. But here, his arms were sort of just, he was swinging them in a kind of like a useless way, like he couldn't quite believe what had happened to him. And it hadn't sunk in yet. And of course, we knew he'd come back punching. And of course, he is.
So kind of bewildered and stunned, Christine, that verdict was coming down, and to hear all 34 of those read out, guilty, 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 guilty. And as you say, after a couple of guilties, he began to realize they're probably going to find me guilty on all 34 counts. And so they did. As a sketch artist, how difficult is it for you to actually do your job?
It's a tough job. We're in a spot, especially in that courtroom, where um, the marshals and the people seated in front of us almost entirely obliterate our view from him. And yesterday, I frankly was in the worst seat. But we take turns being in the worst seat. It was just my number was up, and really just even glimpsing him is a difficulty. Of course, he's got that fabulous neon hair, so that when you can when you're looking at him, he's unmistakable. But it's a tough job because you're trying to draw things that you can't see at all or very well. And you have to get the elements of the drawing. You need to have. I could always see the judge. I could see the jurors, but I wasn't allowed to draw them. And the lawyers, I really couldn't see. But it was one of those things where I've covered enough of these things. I know where everybody is. I can do the drawing, even when it's impossible.
Yeah, you've got a lot of experience here, and yet this trial in particular was, no doubt kind of once in a lifetime. I mean, it's a trial like any other, but it's not a trial like any other in so many ways. How does that make you feel? It's come to an end. We now have a verdict. What's your takeaway from it all, Christine, having really witnessed history?
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what the impact of this is on our community. It's been a very bizarre season anyway because it's an election year. And this is going to have some effect. I don't know what effect. I don't know if it will. I'm sure it will rally the people who are already with him, it might rally some who aren't, and it also might make people drop off because the seriousness of being convicted of campaign fraud, essentially. Um, that's what he falsified the records for.
Christine, thanks so much for taking the time. I know it's got to be really busy and you're still letting it all soak in, but it's wonderful to have you part of our coverage the day after.
Thank you very much, sir.
Christine Cornell.